Welcome to our episode of our podcast, Don't Chew With Your Mouth Open, where we'll discuss business, economics, finance, investments, and wealth creation for the global south.
Welcome. This is Don't Chew With Your Mouth Open, a podcast that focuses on finance, investment, social mobility, and entrepreneurship in the global south. Welcome to our podcast. And today we want to challenge one of the biggest lies we hear in the workplace. We are a family. No, we are not. We're not a family, and we want to speak about that today. Hope you enjoy the rest of the pod. So let's unpack this. The myth of we are a family. The roots of it were culture building, loyalty signaling, and also a way that in some situations, unintentionally or intentionally, for leadership to speak to and in other dark places manipulate employees to be part of the business, to be loyal to the business. In any business, one of the hardest things to really deal with is labor. Labor being getting the right kind of people into the environment and giving them an environment to perform the best. However, that does not imply that one is a family member. Family doesn't fire you or retrench you. Family doesn't downside the business. Family doesn't restructure and leave you with a package that you must leave with. So it shows you that in reality, we're not family. What we are is we have an exchange of value. It's about our ability for me to leverage my knowledge and my experience, and for you to leverage that and reward me with capital or with income or with money, simply put. And that does not make us a family. Should we treat each other well? Yes. Should we respect each other? Yes. Should the work environment be safe and conducive for productivity? Yes. But that does not imply that you and me are family. You trade your skills and time for finance or income and opportunity. That does not imply that we work together, and because we work together, we are a family together. Companies generate returns, not lifetime fulfillment. The goal of a business is profit, and you, whether you like it or not, are a cost to that business. So when you work for somebody, in reality, you are a cost to them. Why don't they complain about that cost? They don't complain about that cost because the labor you offer provides them with a return. And that return is often revenue. If it's not revenue, it's quality administration, which makes sure the revenue is not wasted or misused. And the day your cost becomes more than the value to the firm, you are asked to leave or the doors open to you. And that therefore implies that you're not a family. In 2013, I was working for a Portuguese bank, Banco Espírito Santo. They had a private equity arm that was doing really well. I had, for the last 4 years or 3 years in that firm, been a top performer, 4.4 out of 5, got great bonuses. But the year macroeconomics changed in Portugal and the bank was not able to sustain its assets and liabilities, the bank shut down. I was called into a room. I was told, you have a box, you have a laptop, sign this piece of paper, we're giving you 6 months, thank you for coming. The number of late nights, all-nighters I had pulled, the number of times I traveled and left my family, the number of times I had chosen not to enjoy but go to work on a Sunday or late into the evening, all came back to me. They all made me realize that when I was being told we're part of a broader family, you are part of something more meaningful than just a business, that it was all not true. The intention of that manager may have been genuine. He may have genuinely felt like we had a relationship. He may genuinely have felt like we could work together for a long time. However, when the cookie crumbled, he was forced to let us go. And that process gave me the insight that no matter how close, how well we relate, the kind of quality friendships we may build in our workplace, it does not entitle us to feel like we are family. The people next to you in that cubicle are not your brothers and sisters. You can build a relationship with them outside of your work. But the moment your cost outweighs your benefit in the eyes of your employer, it's the time when you realize that this is not a family, it's a business. So what's the message to employees? Be excellent in your work, be ethical in your work, but do not confuse loyalty with ownership. You don't own a part of the business, you can't be loyal to it. The opportunity will come that you may have to leave, you have to change jobs, and you may have to focus on your family or other things that may come to your plate. Just work hard, show that you're good at your job, make sure you're ethical, but do not confuse loyalty with ownership. To the entrepreneur, do not ask the employee to work as if they are a shareholder. You are able to drive and request more and more from an individual who has real equity in the business. If an employee doesn't have equity in the business, push them to the point of your agreement between you and them, the hours you've placed, the requirements you have on them. Push them to the point you're willing to remunerate them for the hours they've lost for doing other things. But don't push them to the point where you begin to believe that those individuals are shareholders with you. No. Shareholder risk is different from labor risk. They hold the risk of not having a job, you hold the risk of not having a business. And confusing the two leads to the lie that we are family. There's a huge difference with being an owner and earning a salary. Equity changes everything. Once you have a piece of the business, you no longer have working hours because the business becomes your life and you become the entrepreneur. Prior to that point, if you have a salary, you're selling your labor. Your labor has an hourly rate. There's a time for you to work and there's a time for you to not work. If you find yourself behaving like an owner, maybe the conversation around equity should begin. If you're an owner and you're finding yourself demanding your employees to work like they're an owner, maybe you should look at a share ownership scheme for your employees. However, if none of these things are happening, there has to be a line drawn and a significant difference between the salary earners who are selling their time, labor, and experience and business owners who are growing business value, equity value, and are profit-driven incentives and they share in those profits. So in the comments, leave some questions. Have you ever been in a company? Leave some comments rather. Have you ever been in a company which said we are family? What happened when things got tight? When things got difficult? What happened when bonus pool was limited? How were decisions made? Leave your comments. I'd love to hear more and more about what your view is of being considered family in a business. For employees, recognize that you're part of a market and the market sells labor. Understand the value of what you offer and what the market is willing to pay for what you do. And once you understand that, understand also that you have options. And if me as an employer doesn't want you to have those options, I must make you unemployable to the other people. So I must pay you well enough, provide you with the right environment for you to prefer to work for me. As founders, as employers, don't use emotional language to manipulate. Be honest with your employees. Let them know that this is a business. As much as you want them to enjoy being in your business, to want to work for you, to have the joy of building the business with you in the sense of providing their labor, you have to recognize and they have to recognize that they are there to sell their labor. If you want to promote them and give them more skin in the game, consider the upside of equity. Consider bringing them on the cap table. That way you can then require loyalty because somebody is a part owner of the business like yourself. So what are we saying? What is our recap? We're not a family, we're a business. You need to understand that as an employer and you need to understand that as an employee. Both of you are in the market. The entrepreneur is in the market for labor to build their business. You, the employee, are in the labor market to provide your labor in exchange for value. That relationship must consistently remain clear to both parties. And when that remains clear, then there's no need to tell each other that we are family, because we are not. I hope this episode has really helped you to clarify that relationship. You need to, if you're an employee, keep growing, keep learning, keep getting better. If you are an employer, keep searching for the better people, keep empowering the people you have to perform better for the business. Ensure that you reward them meaningfully and well for what they do, and they will do what it takes to make sure your business is great. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Don't Chew with Your Mouth Open. We'll see you next time. Thank you.